In Anambra, stakeholders advocate patronizing made-in-Nigeria products to boost economy. Nigeria Governors Forum reviews proposed new minimum wage by Nigeria Labour Congress. As European Union frowns against Russian cyber attacks against Germany and Czech Republic. Hello, good morning and welcome to Breakfast News on ABS Television. I am David Okwakwasile. Before the news in detail, remember that Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's continue to give him maximum support for the task ahead. We begin from Umuawolo Mbau, where the wife of the governor of Anambra State, Mrs. Nonye Soludo, has introduced her Healthy Living program to the National Youth Service Corps NYSC orientation camp in the state. The governor's wife, who announced this when she visited the Batch A Stream 2 corps members at the NYSC Permanent Orientation Camp, Umuawolo Mbau, in Awka South local government area, noted that in making healthy living a household consciousness, everyone has to be carried along. Addressing the over 1,700 corps members in the camp, Mrs. Soludo explained that healthy living should be every corps member's priority and that they should apply it lessons to improve their well-being and those of those around them. The governor's wife also introduced a pad bank to the camp, kicking off a new chapter in the initiative that is currently spreading across over 400 secondary schools in Anambra State. Taking the corps members through the program's routine, the governor's wife, who was represented by the Healthy Living State Coordinator and the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Afamo Bidike, said that it was important for them to be at home with practical knowledge of the crusade, especially aspects that concern diets and basic life support. Earlier in her remarks, Anambra State Coordinator of NYSC, Mrs. Blessing Iruma, pointed to the importance of healthy living in the lives of everyone, including corps members, stating that the introduction of the program to the camp will help them now and in the future. She commended Mrs. Soludo for leading the campaign across the state, explaining that her dedication and commitment to the Healthy Living program show clearly that she cares about the well-being of everyone in the state. Ahead of future elections in Nigeria, Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, PACA, has organized a one-day town hall meeting on electoral reform. The town hall meeting held in Awka has its participants and representatives drawn from civil society organizations, the media, Ohaneze Ndị Igbo, Anambra State Association of Town Unions, and journalists. Our correspondent, Queen Anibogu, filed the report, now taken from our studios.
In his keynote address, the executive director of PACA, Mr. Ezen Nwawangu, said political education is necessary ahead of future elections in Nigeria, adding that the town hall meeting was aimed at collecting ideas and contributions from relevant stakeholders for improved electoral process. He regretted that not many people have the Electoral Act, a document he observed has been left as the exclusive property of lawyers. He also regretted the non-conduct of local government elections in most states in the southeast.
We have found out traveling around Nigeria is that there's not a lot of investment in electoral education. So we've started that work. We were in Cross River, we were in Akwa, and then we're here. And we just came from Enugu to this place, talking to stakeholders, engaging them, harvesting their feelings about what can be done to improve future elections.
In his remark, the Anambra State Director of the National Orientation Agency, NOA, Mr. Edozie Ajebu, noted that poor political culture, absence of internal party democracy, and electoral corruption have continued to undermine the ability of the electoral process to produce candidates who can effectively represent the aspirations and yearnings of Nigerians. He, however, observed that since the return of democracy in 1999, Nigeria's electoral process has progressively improved, judging by various factors, including citizens' demands, civil society organizations, advocacy, legislative reforms, credible leadership in INEC, and internal support. While commending Parker for the bold initiative, Mr. Ajiebu, represented by Mr. Ignatius Obiora, called for partnership with other donor agencies to ensure that the goals of the town hall meeting are materialized, even as it assures Parker and the society of her readiness to support enthronement of genuine democratic process in Nigeria. A former commissioner for women affairs in Anambra State, Dr. Ego Uzezie, said it is disheartening that there are laws in Nigeria that encourage women's participation in the electoral process, but it is only on paper and not in reality. But stress that they will keep pushing until it becomes a reality.
What we want is women who can fight for, not only for women, but for everybody, because a woman bears a child, nurses a child, cares for the child. So you as a president was born by a woman. So a woman cares for everybody.
Speaking on how to allow Nigerian youths to participate effectively in the electoral process, the President General of Astatu Youth Wing, Comrade Ken Okoli, and another participant, Mr. Israel Oji, said the Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, should make the youths believe in the system by making people's votes count, saying as another election year approaches, it is another time for INEC to redeem its image. Group discussions and interactions were featured during the meeting.
Nigerians have been urged to patronize made in Nigerian products and services to boost local production. Speaking in Awka, the Vice President of Ohanes Ndibo Worldwide, Chief Damian Okekogene, said this will strengthen the economy. Paul Ezoke has the details.
Chief Okekogene said patronizing made in Nigerian products will also stabilize the naira against foreign currencies, as well as encourage local investors to establish more industries to create more employment opportunities and reduce dependency on importation. He noted that massive production of local goods was the only way the country can sustain its drive towards achieving industrialization and diversification of the economy and scaling up of the gross domestic product, GDP. Chief Okekogene commended Governor Chukwuma Soludo for upholding his policy of using only locally produced products, both in personal and public functions, thereby entrenching the practice of promoting locally made products so that people will be encouraged to grow what they eat and consume what they produce to save the country from the burden of mono economy. He reminded Southeast governors of the need for closer collaboration in crime fighting to maintain.
The Transition Committee Chairman of Dunukofia and Njikoka local government areas, Mr. Augustine Onyemobi and Chief Clems Agui, have debunked the rumor being circulated that hundreds of Fulani herdsmen with arms are being encamped in the bush at the back of Zone 13 headquarters Ukpo in Dunukofia local government area. They do dismiss the rumors during a joint security meeting by the local government chairman, President Generals of Ukpo, Upulu, Nogo, Enugu Agede, and heads of vigilante groups of the communities. Our correspondent, Kwemeka Modelem, has the rest of the story.
When the team gathered at the local government headquarters, they first visited the area in question and found out that there were no traces of Fulani herdsmen there after touring the bush for hours. They also met farmers whose names are Messi Machie, Benedict John, and Evelyn, who came to harvest their crops, and they testified that there is no such settlement behind Zone 13. Addressing journalists after the visit, the Transition Committee Chairman of Njikoka local government area, Chief Clems Agui, described all the things that are going viral about Fulani herdsmen encampment at Ukpo as mere fabrication of lies designed to cause panic and tarnish the image of some targeted persons and groups. He urged the general public to go about their legitimate businesses without fear, as the state government is committed to providing law and order and a secured environment for them. He pointed out that they have decided to hold joint meetings regularly to ensure joint protection of the two local governments, and thanked the vigilante groups in the local government for being alive to their responsibilities, assuring that in due course they are going to set up a team of strike force between the two local governments that will undertake joint patrol to ensure that what has been rumored never happened in the area.
For the past 2 hours, we have gone around the forest, we have gone down the bushes, we saw heavy plants, we met farmers, and there's no trace that there has been any kind of encampment there. And we didn't see any trace that anybody or any group has encamped there, because all the public go abiding normal business, and also be assured that the government of Anambra State, the local governments in each government are committed to providing law and order and secure environment for the people.
Earlier, the Transition Committee Chairman of Dunukofia local government area, Mr. Onyemobi, assured that they are putting everything in place to ensure that all the neighborhoods surrounding the local governments remain peaceful, and lauded Governor Chukwuma Soludo for his efforts to ensure that there is adequate security in the state.
Are concerned because it's a security issue. So whenever a security issue is raised, there's no need to just wish it off. There is a clear evidence that Fulani herders did not visit here at all. It is clear case of misrepresentation of fact.
On his part, the President General of Ukpo Development Union, Chief Uchenna Ezewulu, who wondered why people would sit in the comfort of their homes and fabricate such lies to tarnish the image of a certain personality, urged them to retrace their steps, even as he urged farmers in the community to go about their farming activities, as their safety is guaranteed.
My clear observation is that here, there's no any Fulani man, there's no any camp. I visited here previously. Even yesterday, I came here yesterday, and I'm here today again with another team for them to ascertain.
From Ukpo, Chukwuemeka Modelem, ABS News.
Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018 says a person with disability shall not be discriminated against on the grounds of his disability by any person or institution in any manner or circumstance. But notwithstanding, there have been allegations against some domestic airlines in Nigeria that continue to discriminate against persons with disabilities through their services. Our correspondent, Princess Epui Ajide, tells us more.
The chairman of Anambra State Disability Rights Commission, Barrister Chukwuka Ezewuzie, who lamented the e-treatment meted out to him by one of such airlines, owing to his state of low vision, called on the Minister of Aviation, Barrister Festus Keyamo, to direct all Nigerian airline operators to implement and abide by the rules of International Airlines Transport Association, IATA. The IATA rule provides the rights of persons with disabilities to have access to air travel and to eliminate obstacles and barriers in transportation for persons with disabilities. Barrister Ezewuzie at a press conference in Abuja on behalf of 35 million Nigerians with disabilities who are falling victim to discriminatory policies and practices by some Nigerian airline operators in Nigeria, noted that air travel should be accessible to all persons, including persons with disabilities. He gave a harrowing tale of how he was abandoned and denied boarding an aircraft going to Enugu 3 years ago because he could not pay for additional fare for a companion and has not been refunded for the said flight to date, despite his petition to the House of Representatives Committee on PWDs and testimony at the public hearing on airline discrimination against PWDs. The Anambra State Disability Rights Commission's chairman made a list of recommendations for the aviation sector, including dedicated specialized ground personnel to be trained and deployed to handle mobility aids guidance on how to properly resolve instances where mobility aids are damaged, among others.
The federal law prohibits discrimination against persons with disability. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria gives freedom of movement to everyone, including persons with disability.
In Abuja, Princess Ekwi Ajide reporting.
36 state governors, under the aegis of the Nigeria Governors Forum, NGF, have disclosed that they are reviewing their individual fiscal space as state governments and the consequential impact of various recommendations geared towards arriving at what they described as an improved minimum wage they can pay sustainably. This came as Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, gave reasons organized labor is fronting a 615,000 naira minimum wage, saying it is being magnanimous by not raising its demands despite compelling reasons to do so. The governor said they celebrate with workers across the country for their dedication to service and patience, as all have worked with the federal government, labor organized private sector, and relevant stakeholders in arriving at an implementable national minimum wage. According to the governors, while they acknowledge various initiatives adopted recently by way of wage awards and partial wage adjustments, it is imperative to state that that 7-member tripartite committee inaugurated on the national minimum wage is still in consultations and yet to conclude its work. The European Union and NATO have denounced Russia for launching cyber attacks against Germany and Czech Republic. Using similar critical language, NATO called on Moscow to abide by its international obligations and stressed the alliance would employ the necessary capabilities in order to deter and defend against and counter the full spectrum of cyber threats. Both put the blame on APT28, an acronym for Advanced Persistent Threat Actor 28, a cyber espionage group linked to Russia's military intelligence service, GRU. In Germany, APT28 is accused of compromising email accounts of members of the Social Democratic Party, SPD, the leading force in the ruling coalition. In sports news, Aston Villa have thrown their hat in the ring for the signature of Nigerian forward Kelechi Iheanacho, who is poised to depart Leicester City at the end of his contract at the King Power Stadium this summer. Other Premier League clubs also linked with the 27-year-old forward are Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest, while Turkish club Trabzonspor identified the forward as a potential replacement for Southampton loanee Paul Onuachu, whose future at the club remains doubtful despite his goal-scoring form. With aspirations to fortify their attacking options, Villa have set sights on Iheanacho. While Oli Watkins lead Villa's attack and John Duran serves as backup to the English striker, Unai Emery, according to the reports, hopes to bolster his attacking options with the signing of Iheanacho amid the possibility of the club qualifying for European competition next season. And that's the news this morning, but remember you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world on our Facebook page at ABS Television, on our YouTube at ABS Television Oka, and on our Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. Before we go here, the main point, again, we told you that the wife of the governor of Anambra State, Mrs. Soludo, has extended her healthy living program to the state NYSC. We also told you that stakeholders have advocated patronizing made in Nigerian products to boost economy. Nigerian Governors Forum says they are reviewing the proposed new minimum wage by the Nigeria Labour Congress. We also told you that the European Union has frowned against Russia's cyber attacks on Germany and Czech Republic. Remember that Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's continue to give him maximum support for the task ahead. And that's the news this morning. Thanks for joining us. I am David Okpokwasili.